I'm Hannah Wallace and welcome to Finextra TV. Today we're kindly joined by Charlie Platt, Head of Financial Services UK at SAP. Hello Charlie, thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thank you.
So the first thing I want to talk to you about is Sibos. It's fast approaching and this year it's in London, which is really exciting. The overarching theme is thriving in a hyper-connected world. So to start off, could you tell us what does the theme mean to SAP and why is it relevant to you?
Well, I think the timing is perfect. We've been talking about fintechs and connectivity for many years, and I think now we're getting to a stage that we're into sort of almost that second generation that we're starting to realise there's a lot more connectivity going on. It's not just about joining a fintech and a bank together. We're getting to a new level that's looking at potentially developing entirely new business models and some pretty exciting things to come. SAP, as you may know, is a very major provider to corporates and also consumers across the world, the customers of those corporates. And essentially 77% of the world's transactions touch an SAP system at some point as they go through. In my mind, what that means is that we're a very important cog in the commerce of working with organisations. And when we talk about a hyper-connected world, what we're talking about is improving the flow between all of those different people within the ecosystem.
And some of the key areas of discussion are going to be enhancing the digital ecosystem and leveraging data, also regulation and exploring the human element. Can you tell us what is exciting you most and which of these themes are most relevant for you?
Well, I think possibly all of them are interlinked, and whilst they're all identified as separate themes, really they're very, very closely linked. If we talk about enhancing the digital ecosystem, what we're talking about is bringing multiple components together, as I was saying before, whether they're consumers or corporates or banks or whatever it might be. How do you bring all those together in a smoother way? Well, a key element of that is leveraging data, right? And bringing AI and machine learning to bear in those capabilities to bring a lot more intelligence to that data. For us, what's really important as well is a lot of this work that's been done in the past is looking historically at what people have done. What's really important to us now is thinking about why they did it. So not just the what they've done, but the why they actually went and did it. And that for us is more about looking at the whole experience for customers through the process. Obviously, all of this has to be done in a regulatory compliant way, which means there are a lot more stringent processes and controls that need to be brought to bear as part of this. So for me, all of these elements hang together extremely strongly to provide a great service to customers going forward.
All right, and homing in a bit more on exploring the human element, how is SAP placed with this theme?
Well, I think this is massive to us. You know, we're well known for our capability of doing some of the human element around things. For me, there are two key areas. There is, when we're talking about the human element, there is the customer, of course, which we often think about, or banks often think about. Something that gets less well thought about is the employee, I think, which is the other side to the human element. We, in this hyper-connected world, we're bringing in much more complicated models. Our employees, or the bank's employees, now need to be able to operate in those complicated models. They need to think how they're going to deliver and operationalize those complex models. They need training around those sorts of capabilities. But on top of that, they have to work in a regulatory environment that we need to support them in the regulatory environment to make sure that they're delivering what they're supposed to deliver. And then, you know, we also have a responsibility, or banks have a responsibility, to think much more about the well-being of their employees. They work in tough and complex environments, and you now need to start to think about mental health and all of those sorts of issues as well. So for me, the human element is the most important part. If you don't get that piece right, all the technology in the world that you put in place won't come together. So wrapping all of this element up with the hyper-connected world vision, I think is absolutely critical, and I'm really pleased they have it on the list.
All right, how and why is this essential to creating new value propositions?
Because I think all of these elements come together, as I said before. A lot of digital transformation, I feel, in the past has been at the periphery of the business, at the ends of the business. Now we're starting to talk about really bringing a lot of these things together in a much more complicated and sophisticated way than before. My personal view is that because this involves a whole load of things, technology, people, back-end systems, front-end systems, process, regulation, all of these elements, there are few companies in the world that are designed or able to deliver many of those elements all together. And SAP is one of those organisations.
Well, leading on from that quite nicely and ending on the topic of experience management, what is this and why is it so important to banks?
We're living now entirely, I think, in an experience world, right? Whether it's the holidays we buy, the way we eat our food, you know, the way we get our food delivered, all of these things are about experience. And that's true in banking nowadays. Finding differentiation in a percentage point difference on a credit card or something like that is pretty difficult. And that's made even more difficult with the onset of the fintechs and the challenger banks. Today, I believe a massive element of how the banks will continue to differentiate is through customer experience and experience management. As I mentioned briefly before, this is, for us, the marrying of the operational data, the what somebody did, with the why they did it. And I think we're still in a position that we don't spend enough time thinking about why individuals made the decisions they did, whether they chose a product or didn't choose a product. For us now, bringing these two aspects together is absolutely critical. If we can help banks have that experience and deliver that experience capability to their customers, then that's where they will differentiate, not by a few percentage points on different products that they put to market.
Well, you're certainly working on some really exciting things, and thank you for sharing your insights. We look forward to seeing you at Sibos.
Thank you.